What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about Stellar. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what has really been moving it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So at the time of doing this video, it is pulling back slightly, 4.92%. And that's rather odd, especially considering a lot of the other altcoins are getting a lot of attention and are green and kind of moving higher. Plus, they're getting a lot of good volume, whereas opposite is happening with Stellar. So rather low volume, so 4.14 billion over the last 24 hours. I know that sounds like a lot, but for Stellar's case, kind of low. So in general, for any cryptocurrency or stock in general, for it to move higher, you need a good amount of inflow of capital. So Stellar is not really getting that right now. I'm not really sure, maybe just profit taking and stuff like that. A lot of articles have been coming out kind of talking on altcoins, not necessarily Stellar. So I think Stellar had its time in the sun. Doesn't mean it's over, but essentially I think it's just taking a breather, and nothing wrong with that. That's very good based on the technicals. I'm going to go over that in a second, but you do see the fear and greed index, a crypto fear and greed index, still under the extreme greed category. So that's generally good, meaning people's appetite for risk is still on the table. A couple of different things that did really push Stellar higher, one of which was Gary Gensler kind of stepping out as of January the 20th, 2025. So a lot of coins such as Stellar, which have a pretty good utility, could benefit from a ETF. And with Gary stepping out, that opens the door for possibilities. So logically, that's one of the biggest things that really pushed it higher. And as well, you also had a analyst, or I guess they call them an expert, kind of citing that there would be a 850% surge to roughly $2.27, similar to what happened in 2020. So which goes over a lot of their analysis, which is well over my head. Whenever I do technical analysis, I like to look at like fib levels, moving averages, and stuff like that. This seems to be, I don't really know exactly his stage or what he's doing, but regardless though, he or she is predicting for a similar type of surge, what happened in March 2020, where it went up 3,000%, similar type of nature for it to go up to roughly that $2.27 mark. So I think in general, combination of that is what really drew a lot of individuals to Stellar, and myself included. It's still, I do feel, has a lot more room for it to go up. It just needs that nice little push. There hasn't been that rotation that I thought would happen. So today the equity market's closed in lieu of Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to all the Americans out there. But I would have anticipated that there would be some rotation from the equity market to crypto. Market is open on Friday, only half day up until 1 o'clock. So maybe that is going to be when the actual rotation does occur, or possibly even later today. It is still rather early on Thursday. So anything is possible, but based on the technicals, it does signal that there is a lot more room for it to go up. So let me know your thoughts on that. This is the liquidations for Stellar. So you have seen just a lot of longs closing out their positions rather than shorts. So what really pushed it higher was a massive amount, 12.97 million to be exact, worth of shorts liquidating. So, and that's followed by 10.7 the following day on the 23rd. So it still has room for it to go up, just it needs a lot of longs to kind of stop closing out the position. One thing that did kind of come out on Wednesday was PCE, so a data point, and on a year-over-year basis it came in at 2.3 versus 2.2, which is the forecast. So I think the likelihood of a 25 basis point cut for the December 18th meeting is also kind of moving out of the window, so that possibility is going out. So I think that's also really affecting crypto, because consumers' buying power increasing directly is correlated with liquidity going in, for instance, on crypto. So this is why I like to analyze a lot of the data behind the scenes, because everything, it kind of explains on what is happening and stuff like that. But still, it is ranked number 14 based on market cap. Still doing fairly well though on the 7-day, up 98.32%. So it is starting to recover, it looks like, but still over the last 1 day, it is lagging, similar to Cardano and whatever else. So I think a lot of the hot ones that have ran up like 40+%, over the last 7 days. Those are kind of the ones that are lagging a little bit, but as of right now, with it at 48 and change, it is trading between these 2 points. So just looking right here, so it is right above that 45 cent mark, so the pivot point and then the R1. So 62 in theory is where it could go. So in reality, once it is able to get above this R1, in theory this is where you could hit the 73, 90, and possibly once it gets over kind of a lot of those thresholds, then it would go parabolic. You'd have a pretty good epic short squeeze, and then maybe this might come to fruition. So this $2.27, honestly, that would be absolutely epic. Market cap would place it, what would it be? Probably rank number, where's the Stellar? So that'd be, yeah, rank number 9 for the most part, assuming everything kind of stays the status quo. But as of right now, though, on the actual chart, I am looking at the 1 day, at the 50, 100, 200-day moving average, super trend, ALMA, volume, and then stochastic RSI. So because of all this consolidation and just stagnantness, I know that's not a real word, but because of all that, you have it actually considered oversold. So that could really work in its benefit in the next little bit, as long as it does get that inflow of capital coming in. But generally speaking, it is kind of flirting with the ALMA. So 47.6, that's going to be one point to really watch for, at least in the short term. Whenever you're looking at the 1 day, it does give you a projection for basically like 1 week out for the most part. Looking at the 4 day, it gives you a good, or sorry, the 4 hour gives you a good overview of roughly about 3 to 4 days out. But this is where you're seeing some kind of weakness. And I think that's just the abnormally low volume in reality. But generally speaking, some points to really watch for kind of out that viewpoint is that 50-day moving average. So as of right now, that's roughly around 41 cents. So it could go down a little bit, but like I said, I think just because of everything, the momentum in the broader market, it wants to move higher, and most likely it will. It just needs, whether it be happening later today, if not on Friday, but I think there is still a lot more room for it to essentially go up. And obviously, I'm sure you can tell based on my technical analysis, like looking at moving averages, fib levels, completely polar opposites to this, which I'm not really sure. I am primarily covering stocks for the most part. In the past, I've covered a couple cryptocurrencies, more specifically ETC. And when I do technicals, it is very, very eerily accurate. So I really like my technical analysis, and mine is kind of showing some consolidation is due in its future. But generally, I think given the momentum of everything, it is going to really propel higher, most likely, at least in the short term to roughly around that 73 cent mark. But I do feel that this upcoming weekend is going to be pretty epic. So you never know. You could see some pretty higher highs coming. I don't know if 90 cents is realistic this time around to have back-to-back 2xers. But generally, I think it's just cryptocurrency, no matter what, though, is just still in its infancy. A lot of people just generally do not understand and realize that. So once it gets more ingrained in society through ETFs or just purchasing power and whatever else, this is where you'll see the big gains. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, take a look at my Patreon, link in the description below and also the comments. I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. A lot of them have been absolutely bangers. So pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.